Hey, it's Bobby Bones with some exciting news. Open booking is here for the Top Shelf Country Cruise, setting sail February 2026 aboard the luxurious Celebrity Reflection. Spots are filling up fast, so book your stateroom today or sign up to become a lineup insider to receive the final lineup 48 hours prior to the public. Don't miss your chance to make February 2026 unforgettable. Visit TopShelfCountryCruise.com. That's TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com. ODOO.com.
Hey, everybody. I'm No Illusions.
And I'm Cecil, something Italian.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Right in my ear.
Wait,
What?
Eli, what's wrong, buddy?
You and Cecil are doing the sad podcast intro voice. Did our show get canceled? Our show got canceled. Oh, we shouldn't have done that sketch about Randy's husband.
No, Eli.
No.
It's just the age difference is so big, Noah. It's so big.
Relax.
Eli, we're not canceled. It's just the end of a really hard year, and we wanted to thank people.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah, look, we know a lot of people are going through a tough time right now. Some of you lost jobs or even family members, or maybe you've just been dealing with a really hard year.
Yeah, and in spite of that, many of you have stayed patrons or signed up to support us anyway.
Yeah, and not to mention, you helped us raise $138,658 to win back the Senate.
That's right. So we here at Citation Needed just wanted to thank you. And honestly, we wish we could do more.
So as our Christmas gift to you, we're pleased to present our long-awaited episode on the Etruscans.
Ooh, Etruscans! Ba-ba-bam. Yeah. So we were saving it for a live show or a platinum night, but a lot of you asked for it here. So here it is, because in this terrible, terrible year, you've been the part that gives us hope.
Horses go clip-clop.
That's right. They sure do, buddy. Enjoy the Etruscans, everybody.
Clip-clop.
They do.
Yep.
That. Yep.
Got it, buddy.
Hello. Welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that is how it works now. I'm Tom, and evidently I don't understand horses or my own pockets. It's true. Great.
True.
Good.
Yeah.
But I'm not the only one who's lying to you every day about who I am. Joining me today are two men whose entire lives are packaged and sold to you, and even though you know they're lying, you can't get enough of it. Eli and Noah.
I sure am happy to be here with you, Tom. See? You don't even want to know what's under Noah's series of masks, Tom. It's just
No, we know.
And also joining us tonight, two men who aren't lying to you, but only because they can't be bothered to remember your name. It's Cecil and Heath.
It's not because I don't like you. It's because I don't like anybody. I don't like anyone.
Why do people ask, do you remember me ever to anyone? That's so hey, you. Yeah. Yeah, we totally met at the...
So before we launch into this episode, I want to point out that if you can work your pockets, you should reach into them and pull out some money and give some of that money to us. Because
be specific.
If anything proves our dedication to you, it's that I agreed to listen to Noah talk about the goddamn Etruscans for 30 straight minutes. So look, we've done our fucking part, okay? You owe me, Tom. That's who you owe. That's all I'm saying. You fucking owe me. All right? The patrons, this is for you guys. If you'd like to learn how to join their ranks, be sure to stick around till the end of the show. And with that out of the way, Cecil, tell us, even though I just gave it away, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about the people who were Roman before it was cool, the Etruscans.
All right.
Yeah. Etruscans.
Yay.
The best part about this episode is that because we did the fake Etruscans episode and the fake Jean Bonnet Ramsey episode, until we have talked about the Etruscans for several minutes, most of our listeners are going to be like, you motherfuckers.
I turned that shit off right at the intro. Fuck you guys.
It's going to be a guy named Elliot Truscan or some bullshit.
This is such a good bit. Stalling? You guys are stalling. What? No, we're totally going to do it.
All right. And Noah, you wrote an entire episode just to rub a recurring bit in my face personally. So why should our listeners not hit stop and immediately unsubscribe?
Because they were begging for it, Tom. You made this happen. This is your fault.
Okay.
It is.
Use my words on me. And why are we spending an entire goddamn episode on the Etruscans?
Okay, well, this actually goes way, way back.
Oh my God, is there a fucking Etruscans prequel now? Is that what we're working our way to? It's a fucking
Pre-Etruscans.
Pre-Etruscans. They were fucking Adam and Eve or whatever.
The meta Etruscans. No, okay, so over the course of the first 90 episodes or so of this show, I developed the habit of mentioning the Etruscans. Hell, I must have brought them up, I don't know, 2 times, maybe fewer. And that was 1 time too many for Tom.
It was.
Etruscan, after all, sounds a lot like a branded cracker. And when I say it, Tom would get hungry.
I'm
And he would
hungry
find
now.
out they're
That counts.
actually an early Italian civilization. He would learn he's not allowed to eat those, and he would be very disappointed. So we entered into this fun little thing where, like, I would threaten to do a whole episode about the Etruscans, and he'd send me a video of how deeply he can impale a knife into a frozen side of beef. It was just a little fun back and forth we had.
That's very far in, by the way. Very, very far in. And why are you doing that episode now, Noah?
Okay, because we all just went through the shittiest goddamn year on global record since the dinosaurs were wiped out, and either you've been looking forward to us finally getting around to this episode, a la Noah, in which case you've earned it, or you've been dreading us getting around to this episode, a la Tom, in which case you're as numb as you're ever going to get.
Yeah, it turns out no matter how numb that is, it's never really comfortably so. Don't let her fool you. It's not.
Right, you know, so, but either way, I figured this was the perfect time to do it.
We're totally going to do this episode about the Etruscans. We're definitely doing it.
Keep listening. Just
Keep
right
listening.
around the corner.
As much as it pains me to ask this question, I don't want to ask the question. All right, fuck. This is for who were the Etruscans? Fuck, I don't care.
Oh,
I
that
don't care.
felt
Phone runs out of battery.
good.
I already don't care.
Oh, what do you guys think of my new ringtone?
Who were the Etruscans?
All right.
Due to technical difficulties.
So I am so glad you asked Tom. Okay, so the Etruscans.
I think you
were a
wrote me asking. Didn't you write the line where I had to
Yes,
ask
I totally
you? I didn't
did.
have a choice. I just
The
read what's
whole
on this
point
page thing.
of writing the article, the essay, and everything was writing that sentence in your color. Yes, Tom, exactly. All right. So the Etruscans were a wildly underappreciated people of early Italy. How underappreciated? Well, basically everything you think of when you think about Rome is actually something they stole from the Etruscans. Togas, Etruscan. The roots of our calendar, Etruscan. Roman arches, Etruscan. Lavish funerary games, Etruscan. Stealing their culture from the Greeks, Etruscan. The gladius, Etruscan. The city of Rome itself is Roman by definition,
I feel like
but
that's Rome,
there's an
right?
increasing body of scholarship that suggests it was actually an Etruscan city that the Romans overran at some point. In fact, even Rome's mythical history strongly suggests that, since the last kings of Rome were Etruscan, even in the Roman legends.
The Etruscans were basically the Nikola Tesla of the ancient world, so it's no wonder that Noah loves them so much. It makes sense. It makes sense.
If the Etruscan civilization was a joke, the Romans were, ancient Carlos Mencia. I guess that's what I'm saying. Also, just circling back, did you say lavish funerary games?
Yeah.
That's what you said? Like Plinko?
Wait, is that a funerary game? I didn't know that was a funerary game.
Well, yeah. Do the corpses falling down, and if it hits the center coffin, you get $500 or something?
All right, it's stuck on the peg again. It just keeps happening.
We can't
Where's the
let
guy
him
with the pole?
bloat this much. Okay.
They're actually doing that in California hospitals.
Well,
now. That's the whole-
Oh no!
It's only fair.
Yeah.
You gotta go second slot.
All
Everybody
right.
knows that.
So who were the Etruscans?
Okay, I already asked you. You made me ask, and now we're not.
And now I am answering
We're like
that.
7 pages in.
All right, so now it's obviously it's tough to describe an entire people in a brief essay, especially because we're talking about a civilization that existed for well over 1,000 years. I mean, that's just the written history we have. There's a lot more in terms of the archaeological record.
I feel like I could do it.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. So even questions as basic as where did they live are going to vary wildly depending on when we're talking about. But at their greatest expansion, they covered modern-day Tuscany, Umbria, parts of the Po Valley, and a few other places south of all that. So basically think most all of northern Italy and then southward along the whole Shin.
We should describe all civilizations in terms of how much territory they covered relative to the clothing shape of their landmass. Like, the ancient Michiganders covered half the palm and 3/4 of the mitten's thumb, or the Seminole Indians covered Florida, but just the tip.
Just the tip.
Penis.
All right, so, okay, the earliest evidence we have for a distinctly Etruscan culture comes from around 900 BCE. These proto-Etruscans are known as the Villanovan culture, and theirs was the first group in central Italy to develop iron tools. It's at this point that historians start identifying them as Etruscan. And as you can imagine, when you're in the Iron Age and all your neighbors are still in the Bronze Age, you kind of rule the roost by default.
Look at these guys. They brought bronze knives to an iron knife fight.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Basic.
Yeah. So, of course, obviously, theirs was the dominant civilization of the region for hundreds of years, up through the rise of the Roman Empire.
And it all started to take off when they invented the Iron Age like button. It was really great.
All right, so there's no question that in terms of art, engineering, and culture, the Etruscans are among the most important civilizations in early European history. And we have writings from them dating all the way back to the 8th century BCE, but they often get left out of the conversation because of an unfortunate historical happenstance. We don't actually know their language. We partially understand it. But most of what we know about them, we learn from other cultures writing about them. And as you can imagine, those records are never quite as complimentary as the records of, say, people writing about their own civilization. We're still the overwhelming majority of our records are Roman, and those assholes were desperate to claim every Etruscan advancement as their own. I mean, hell, even the name Etruscan comes from the Roman word for their culture, Tusca or Toscana, rather than their own name for themselves, Rasenna or Rosna.
And fun fact, according to historic linguist Massimo Pittau, Rosna might be related to the word for shaved or beardless.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Like we see now in the Italian radere or the French se raser, which means to shave, which makes sense as the metal razor was likely invented in Italy during the 6th century BCE.
Oh my God, nobody cares. Nobody cares
I have
so
fun
hard.
facts. That's a fun fact.
Yeah.
That's fun. You're fun. You're having fun right now.
I can really see how one of the first things the Italians invented was a razor. Necessity, after all, is la madre of invention, right?
No razor can tame this. No razor. There's no razor out there that could do that.
Are you wearing a rug? What is that?
Is that latch hook? All right, so there is an interesting accidental compliment that's buried in the name that the Romans chose for him, though. While we don't know the origin for sure, according to the Wikipedia article, the most widely cited hypothesis is that the term means tower builders, which serves as a permanent reminder that they were way better at architecture than the Romans at some point. Right? Like, some people speculate that they earned that distinction because they like to build their towns on high precipices reinforced by walls, but everybody did that, right? Like everybody wanted to anyway. It's just that the Etruscans had the dibs on all the high precipices on account of the first guys to the Iron Age thing. So the wiki also mentions a hypothesis that, quote, Etruscan houses may have just seemed like towers to the simple Latins, end quote.
Gentlemen, look at it. The land of tower.
Incredible, sir.
Guys, I think it's just on a hill.
Now listen closely, men.
I'm going to go check it out. I'll be right back.
The men we face today live like gods.
Yeah, it's not that tall, guys.
Now, their weapons can strike the man down with a single blow, and they take no damage.
Now, look, see, I'm touching the roof right now.
Their armor, impenetrable and forged from undreamed of metals we know not of.
I can just touch it. Just reach up and touch it.
So whatever you do,
no worries.
Try not to insult them, as we may just make it through this day alive.
You know, as I look at it, I think my house is actually just a little taller.
Steve!
Sorry.
All right, so now for a long time there was widespread disagreement about where the Etruscan civilization came from.
I bet there wasn't. I bet nobody was talking about that.
There totally was. A lot of people cared.
I bet nobody was talking about. Nobody was.
So many people.
Where's
They
the
had
disagreement?
symposiums.
Show
They
me.
had
I don't see any disagreement anywhere.
I bet
nobody ever talked
there
about
were
this.
Symposiums and stuff.
Nobody that's ever touched a woman has talked
journals about this. There were women. There were women who touched themselves that talked about this.
That is actually less true than the thing I just said.
All right, but here's the thing.
Women don't touch themselves. They don't shit. They don't touch themselves. We all know that.
But everybody agreed, though, that from their earliest period, the Etruscans were heavily influenced by the Greeks. At its height, the Greek civilization branched out into a bunch of overseas colonies, and at that point, the Etruscan culture absorbed enough Greekness that some Roman historians thought that their culture actually came from a Greek diaspora that predated its golden age. But DNA evidence has definitively shown that they arose from the indigenous population that had been there since the goddamn Neolithic. Like almost everybody, they came from where they fucking were. Romans like to pretend that any sufficiently advanced culture came from Greece, including their own, for the same reason that we like to pretend that any monumental architecture made by brown people came from aliens. Of course, one of the main things that distinguishes one civilization in the ancient world from another is its access to natural resources, the same thing that distinguishes them now. What could it get? What couldn't it get? And the area the Etruscans controlled had a lot of copper and iron, which is either why they reached the Iron Age first or because they reached the Iron Age first. But the fact is that they had it and a Mediterranean coastline, and that meant that they had international influences early on. In addition to the Greeks, they were also heavily influenced by the Phoenicians and the cultures of the Near East.
Yeah, but they were sitting on those piles of copper and iron longing for a wheat or a sheep. Totally.
God, this is riveting stuff. Life of the party kind of stuff. No, did the Etruscans have enemies or wars? They
sure
maybe
did, man.
something they shouldn't have fucked. What is happening?
So, not a lot of record on what they fucked, so I'm not going to get to that. But yes, they had wars. Anybody who had any kind of trade in the Mediterranean Sea in the pretty much any 10th century BCE was going to piss off the Greeks eventually. And Tuscany is basically directly across from Corsica. The Greeks had set up a few satellite colonies on the east coast of Corsica. Those wound up in direct competition with the ports on the west coast of Etruria, and those tensions would eventually explode around 540 BCE with the Battle of Alalia. Fascinating naval battle in its own right, but the short version is that the Etruscans team up with the Carthaginians, and their combined fleet of 120 ships gets its ass handed to it by a Greek fleet half that size.
I had that video bookmarked on Pornhub until 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Look at these rubes with their bronze porn.
Right?
Iron is so much better.
If only they'd gotten a group of fathers and workmen to join them, they could have been the Alalia Pop.
Okay, that's pretty fucking good, actually.
That's not bad.
Don't encourage it.
No, that's good. That's pretty good.
I'm also puns.
Yeah. Yes. It's pretty sure it's pronounced Alalia, but whatever. So after Alalia,
How do you know you made all those words up? None of those
Right,
are even
that's
places.
true.
You
That's
made
true.
these up to write the essay.
I am just making shit up at this point. So yeah. So after Alalia, the Etruscans
Which you have
never
to get
regained...
through a wardrobe, guys. You have to get through like going into a closet in a dresser or whatever. The whole thing. None of this is real.
All right, so after Alalia, the Etruscans never regained their position in terms of Mediterranean trade. The Greeks would take more and more control at their expense, and then a couple generations later, they'd lose another pivotal naval battle, this one called the Battle of Cumae, to a Syracusan tyrant named Hero I. That weakened their control over the southern reaches of their territory, and then a couple generations after that, a Gallic invasion poured in from the northeast. Right about that same time, the ascendant Roman Empire thought to themselves, hey, this would be a great time to start taking Etruscan cities.
Okay, so a summary, the answer to why we should pay attention to the Etruscans is still unanswered. Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I have to leave suspense for the second half. So this leads inevitably to the Roman-Etruscan Wars. And the fact that I don't call them the Etruscan-Roman Wars probably tells you something about who wins.
First billing matters? That
Absolutely, yes, exactly.
Yeah,
well, I mean, honestly, the fact that you'd heard all about the Romans before we started a running gag about them on the show was probably a clue as well. So the problem here is that this is all way early in Rome's history, so we don't know much about it. Not much was written at the time about it, or at least not much that we still have today. And later Roman historians tied a lot of it to the mythical foundings of Rome. So it's kind of difficult to pluck out the real bits from the mythology. But the key fact is that in 280 BCE, the Romans triumphed and conquered the Etruscan people, who would be bitterly folded into their expanding empire.
Okay, well, here we go. We're halfway through, and the Etruscans, like our audience, have lost. So that's nice. Sorry, guys. Let's take a moment for something else while I shoot meth to stay away. That sounds good. So much.
So normally we'd have a skit here that relates to part of the episode.
Yeah, skit portion was originally put here so we'd have a break for advertisers, but we've never actually had any advertisers.
Right. So the result is you just get a bunch more extra show since we started.
And we are taking this particular apropos of nothing to just come out, well, just to ask you, if you like the show, can you please support us on Patreon?
Yeah. I mean, we have some extra episodes on there, but really the benefit is knowing that you're funding this thing that all of us do and showing your support for us.
And since we have to split the money 5 ways, the money you pledge is much, much less impactful than in our separate shows.
Nope, we do not say that here. So thank you, patrons, for helping make this show possible.
And if you're on the fence about becoming a patron, we're in the middle of the most requested episode ever. So, one hand washes the other.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
But it only washes 20 cents on the dollar.
Eli, stop.
Okay, I was just like, how is 20 cents going to feed Tom's kids or Noah and Cecil's 7 million cats or my baby or Heath's? Do you love anything, Heath?
Okay, that's not.
So become a patron today at patreon.com/citationpod.
Yeah, please do that.
I love things.
Name a thing you love.
That I love. You.
Oh, I love you too, buddy.
I love you.
All right, well, Noah, when we left off, the Etruscans were dead, and so they resemble the way I feel inside every day. So what else can there possibly be to say? Nothing. Cool. Let's get drinks. I'm getting a drink.
Okay, yeah,
drink? Drinks.
You could drink through the whole thing. I mean,
I've been drinking.
I was going to say, yeah,
that's helping.
There's never been an episode where Heath wasn't. So yeah. All right.
I mean, we can get more drinks. We can do it if we want.
They can't stop. Well, they can stop you actually. But okay. So like I said before, most of the sources that we have for the details of Etruscan civilization come from less than complimentary sources. Even after they were conquered, the Etruscans very clearly maintained a distinct cultural identity.
Just the Etruscans' ex-wife's blog, just shitty things about the Etruscans.
Pretty much, yeah. But they maintained a distinct cultural identity, and eventually they made up some of the most powerful families in the Roman Empire. And they were very clearly bitter about getting conquered, and they spent hundreds of years standing around in the Roman Senate going it was actually us who came up with togas and arches. You guys stole that shit from us. And the Romans made up for it by ensuring that any Latin record of their history would largely consist of historians and then the Etruscans were doing some dumb shit or something. And that makes it really hard to get a solid handle on anything about their culture.
Okay, just let them have the togas and the arches. Great. You guys invented sheets and curved stuff. Fantastic. There you go.
They don't come up with any of their own shit.
Yeah, but we're keeping the communal wiping sponge, all right? That's ours. Communal wiping sponge, Roman invention.
Communal wiping sponge and puking. That's our... We did those two.
They probably stole both of those from the Greeks. Okay, so let's start with what we know about their government. Now, there was no central government in the sense that we know it now, just like a league of tightly knit city-states that waxed and waned in relative power.
Yeah, we call that America. No,
actually, yes, we do. Yeah, very much like ours. So their system sort of swung all the way from total monarchy to oligarchy.
America.
Yep.
Yeah, there might be a lesson in this one. But usually it resembled a weak monarchy with one dominant power among the 12. And in true Etruscan history fashion, we don't know for sure which 12 cities even made up the Etruscan League.
Etruscan League sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon made to trick you into learning stuff. That sucks.
Yeah, being tricked into learning stuff, that's called citation needed. Asshole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. You started
Noah.
this out going horsey clip clop. You're already doing much better. You've learned so much. All right. So now when I say that their culture was tightly knit, that begs the question of what knits it together. And as is usually the answer here, it's religion, right? Wikipedia describes their common religion as a form of eminent polytheism, meaning that visible phenomena were considered a manifestation of divine power. That power was divided up amongst a typically Mediterranean pantheon of gods, though in most cases we don't know much more about them than their names.
So their gods were like, all right, let me turn part of myself into rocks and dirt and sentient meat bags. This is a good idea.
Yeah. And then religion got dumber from there. Religion got dumber from there.
Actually, yeah. All right, so one of the details that has survived is the origin story of their religion, and it's the kind of bafflingly awesome shit that explains why people like me wish we knew more about these motherfuckers.
This is the best. This is the best thing about their entire civilization.
It's one of my fucking favorites. So the story goes that there's this dude, and he's out tilling his field one day when he suddenly unearths a talking baby named Tagus.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, so Tagus pops out of the ground doing like a Michigan J Frog song and dance number or whatever. And before long, everybody in town has come to see the talking dirt baby, and then everybody in the whole region, and then everyone in all of Etruria.
Okay, if I'm digging in my backyard and I uncover a talking dirt baby, I'm just piling that dirt back in, right? Right? Who's exploring that further?
Yeah.
Dirt's
Me
going right
too,
back on top.
Well, I put those kids in there for a reason. It's not because I'm interested in what they have to say.
All right. So once Tagus has all of the Etruscans gathered together, he tosses out this long discourse on how to interpret the will of the divine. And everybody who could write hastily scribbled down everything he said. Now, once he was all done with this, he just burrowed back into the ground and he was never seen again. And thus was the origin of their holy texts.
Never seen again because no one bothered to seek out that lady with the crib amulet who owned that bar in Nepal. That's why.
All right, now I'm picturing this baby plinking down through the Plinko situation at the funerary game.
Okay, all right.
Someone's playing Jenga with like a bunch of babies. Just
see, and this is why we're not a Saturday morning cartoon that tricks you into learning shit, guys. That's why. That's why. All right, so like most of the religions in their area.
It's called baby stack up. It's a little different, but it's essentially the same thing. Yeah.
All right, so like most of the religions in their area, their pantheon was divided into 3 levels of godhood, with a small pantheon that ruled over a larger one that ruled over a larger one, each layer down dealing with an ever more mundane aspect of human existence. And while it's really easy to kind of map their gods onto older Greek gods and later Roman gods, doing so doesn't actually tell us anything about their beliefs and kind of diminishes our understanding of what makes their culture unique.
See, now, honestly, this is why I admire Noah, because he can write an entire episode about a culture no one knows about and make a big part of the story. No one knows about this, and that's the story.
Noah, if I check the discussion page, am I going to find you in a nerd fight? Because it feels like I'm going to find you in a nerd fight based on that last paragraph.
There's not a comment there from me, but okay. So
I'm legally not allowed to answer you. It's a restraining order.
There's impending. Okay, so yeah. All right. By far, though, in my opinion, the coolest thing about the Etruscan religion was their afterlife. Okay, so most of what we know about their religion comes from these incredibly cool burial sites called necropolises, or cities of the dead. And they were basically full-blown cities where the tombs were individual houses, and they had like roads leading between them. But basically their beliefs had it that the spirits wandered around in these cities from time to time. So they actually would like carve furniture and shit into the tombs. So that, you know, the spirits would have a place to sit down and have breakfast and shit. And the fact that these carvings were stone representations of the actual furniture they would have used at the time gives us a unique window into the perishable shit about ancient cultures that we otherwise never get to see.
If you look closely, you can see the origin of the Allen wrench hole that doesn't fit the wrenches you have.
I just love the idea of some ghost walking in and being like, damn it, they carved me a kitchen island instead of a sink counter. I'm going to spend my whole afterlife walking back and forth now. Just my whole afterlife.
The triangle between stove and the...
One other detail I absolutely love about their afterlife, like a lot of ancient religions, their afterlife had an important river crossing that took you from the realm of the living to the realm of the dead. But unlike some boring-ass cadaverous ferryman, you got to the Etruscan realm riding a hippocampus.
Nice.
Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, in addition to being the part of your brain that controls emotion and memory, the hippocampus is a gigantic mythological fish horse. And instead of
horse? What?
yeah, right? And instead of paying him with a couple of coins, you had to fight the motherfucker. And if you lost...
I'm in.
Right?
Let's do it.
And if you lost, it would kill you, and you just have to go fight him again like in Hades.
You're dead.
Aquaman standing on the side. Yeah, you thought it was useless, right? Fuck you right in the afterlife. Fuck you.
Oh, Aquaman. Cool. So you can beat up the demon fish horse with like your superpowers or?
Actually, I can't. No.
Oh, right. So that's why you're standing here next to a demonic river and you can't do anything?
Yeah, a demonic river. Yeah. You want me to talk some shit to the horsefish for you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
He says you're bald.
Okay, well, now I'm dead and my feelings are hurt. Thank you. Great. You're the fucking worst. Do you even have a power?
Making you feel bad.
Smarm.
All right, so, of course, no discussion of the Etruscans would be complete without at least a few words about their pottery.
Yes.
Oh my! I'm done. I'm out. I'm gonna go fight the fucking memory hippopotamus or whatever. Fuck.
The most iconic thing about their poetry, of course, would be their Bucaro wares and their elaborate black and bronze vase paintings. It's actually hard to separate out the genuine Etruscan pottery conventions, though, as they were also one of the main importers of Greek pottery, so their sites are littered with a mix of both their own shit and the Greek shit. And in a real testament to how obsessed with Greek culture they were, the most common motifs on their native pottery were scenes from Homeric epics.
Yeah, because who doesn't like a good Simpsons quote, right?
That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah,
Etruscans did it.
Etruscan pottery conventions sound fucking lit. That's all I'm saying. I would go.
Probably a lot of fucking at it. Yeah. Okay, so artistically, though, the Etruscans are probably best known for their legendary skills in metalworking, especially engraved bronze mirrors.
All right, let me try it. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Is Noah almost done it all?
13 page, I'm on page
close.
11. All right,
close.
So,
you know exactly
right,
what percentage is done.
I know people say this shit about a lot of different stuff, but legitimately, it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to recreate the intricacy of Etruscan bronze work using modern day techniques and tools.
Yeah, you can't get any detail if you're not wearing a toga. That's true. No, my dad was a sculptor. He always wore a toga.
Yeah.
It's impossible for modern people to do anything similar to what the Etruscans did with sculpture back then. How could that possibly be true? Whatever. I'm sure Noah looked it up.
They had different methodologies. Yeah. They had methodologies that have not been rediscovered. Now, one of the most interesting...
Is one of them laser engraving?
Yeah, thank you.
Is one of them laser engraving?
Exactly.
Like, get a Dremel, and you're fucking.
They really good 3D printers back then.
We are going to get so many emails from angry sculptors. It's going to be
so mad. Send us a fucking email, Etruscan sculptors. Like, I can't wait to see it.
And then we're going to forward them to the angry historians who are like, just so you know,
Aquaman
I am
emails.
Dr. Hippopotamus.
Just doesn't end. Piss everybody off with this one. Tom's going to be emailing us. All right.
He can't work a computer. Come on. Horsey
Laptop goes clip clop. Yeah, that's
This Etch-a-Sketch is going to send you a shitty email message. Yeah.
All right. So one of the most interesting lingering questions about the Etruscans,
highly unlikely,
as I alluded to earlier, is whether they founded the city of Rome. Now, historically, we've always talked about the Etruscan influence on Rome, and there's no doubt that the iconic Roman architecture draws heavily from earlier Etruscan innovations. But as near as I can tell, the view that the Romans borrowed from the Etruscans remains the dominant view among historians, but there is increasing reason to believe that it may have actually started as an Etruscan settlement. So Rome is a much younger city than most of the main Etruscan cities, but it's also right at the far southern border of where their territory reached, so it's kind of the place that you would build a newer city.
Or a wall, southern border. That's the perfect place for it.
Who you are, yeah.
Who paid for it? That's the real question.
Right. You'd make Rome pay for it if you're the Etruscans. That's how it works. Yeah.
And what's more, of course, the Etruscans had such a habit of building walled cities on hills that they may very well have been named after doing so. And of course, according to their own mythology, Rome was founded as a walled city on the Palatine Hill.
I'm sorry, according to their mythology? Yes,
Yeah.
according to legends, old and shrouded by time and mystery, there was a place here.
Well, where the city started is part of the legend, yeah. And also, that's not where it started.
Read a
but, okay,
talking
but
baby,
speaking-
idiot.
Yeah.
I bet you look
All right.
foolish. Just look at that mirror that's uncreatable by the monitor. No.
All right. So speaking
They have
of
a
the
fucking
mythical history of
Allspark sculpture thing? Like, get out of here. Let's go.
All right. So speaking of the mythical history of Rome, the tradition that is definitely bullshit has it that Rome had 7 kings after its founding. The last 3, Tarquinius Priscus, Servius Tullius,
Dumbledore?
and Tarquinius Superbus, represent the Etruscan dynasty, and they're the only 3 of the 7 kings that definitely existed. The last was famously, of course, the last king of Rome, and their entire culture forever after was built on the rejection of monarchy, so much so that even when they were obviously monarchical and had been for hundreds of years, no Roman leader ever dared to call himself a king.
Yeah, that's an important distinction. If you don't call yourself a king, it's not a sovereign power. It's executive power. Very different.
Totally different shit.
Not the
First
same at all.
citizen.
So-
Now, one last detail I want to add about the Etruscans: they were way more progressive than the Romans were in terms of women's rights. Which, I mean, that's true of Ben Shapiro. It's not a high bar to clear, but compared to their cultural contemporaries, they were downright woke.
I'm sorry, Noah. Ben Shapiro? Like, did they carve how proud they were of their wives' dry and unpleasured loins into the pottery? Because I don't want to.
No, but if they had, they would still be more woke than the Romans. Okay,
You know, you
so
can't carve a dry vagina right now. It's impossible. Sculptors can't do it.
I just see Ben Shapiro standing there with like a big dry lump of mud trying to shape it into something, and he can't. He can't make the pot. Anyway.
All right, so wall paintings show women mingling unchaperoned at drinking parties and chariot races, which you would never see in Greek or Roman depictions. Women also had far more in the way of legal rights. They could own property, run businesses, inherit their family's wealth, divorce of their own accord, and hold influential positions without being burned at the stake.
But they couldn't call themselves doctor, though, right? That was the key.
God.
Doctor.
Oh, God. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to close on this depressing hypothetical, though, right?
Oh, good. That'll help.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
This is the last episode of 2020. How could I not, right? All right. So Christendom largely patterned its social mores around the dominant attitudes of the Roman Empire at the time of Christianity's emergence in Europe. And it's sad to reflect on how many millions upon millions of women's lives would have been substantially improved if the fucking Etruscans had sided with the Greeks instead of the Carthaginians.
Cool. This turned out precisely as I thought it might have. Tell us, Noah, since you forced us to learn things, if you had to summarize some of that in one sentence, what would it be?
Well, Cecil clearly lied to me about your blood pressure medicine. It works fine. God damn it.
All right, man. Are you ready for the quiz?
I legitimately am, actually.
All right. So the dirt baby popped out of the hole. We need to revisit this. So it popped out of the hole.
Yeah.
Danced around like Michigan J. Frog to Hello My Baby.
Hello, hat.
Yep, the hat. So which of the following is the second favorite dance of dirt babies? A, the Cabbage Patch. B, the Dougie.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
C, walk like an Etruscan. Or D, the worm.
All right, so like, because the listeners can't see how it's spelled, I have to go with B. I have to really emphasize to everybody the brilliance that is B, the Dougie.
That is great. I taught you how to Dougie. Well done.
Yeah.
All right, Noah. Well, I don't know about you, but what I learned this week is that historians are terrible at their jobs. Maybe it was this. It's possible that. Losers. So, what should historians call themselves from now on?
Jesus Christ. Eli Bosnick.
Pottery collectors who guess.
That's archaeology, goddammit.
B. Shrugging with doctorates.
Okay, no, that's
right.
Brutal.
Or C. Operation Warp Speed.
all right. So I have multiple historians in my family. And this question is not going to be the part of this episode that pisses him off the most by any means. So I might as well just go ahead and be honest with you, it's B, shrugging with doctors.
That is correct.
Yeah, you buy them a few drinks and they'll admit it. But yeah.
All right, Noah. What's the best ancient Mediterranean theme song? A, get out of my dreams, get into my Carthage. B, Rome if you want to. C, with or without you, Utica. Or D, Vandal in the Wind.
All right.
So good.
All right. Well, it's the end of the show. If we're talking about the closing theme, it's definitely Vandal in the Wind.
In the Wind. It is not correct. I'm sorry.
Oh,
it
no, I
was
was
Get
so
Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Carthage. It's a great
all right.
Billy Ocean song.
All right.
Would have been my third guess.
Billy Mediterranean Sea song. Yeah.
It's my favorite one.
Cecil, somehow you won. I think you're the only person who won who listened to that episode. I don't really understand this game. Who's the next essay?
Next one is Eli. Do I have to say that out loud? Eli?
You too.
Well, fuck.
Hey, man, if Tom had to say, who are the Etruscans, you have to say the next one's essayist is Eli. Okay, that's only fair.
It's Eli. All right.
All right. Well, for Cecil, Noah, Heath, and Eli, I'm Tom. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week. And by then, Eli, will write an essay. I can't say expert. I can't.
Sure will.
Can't make me do it.
Truth
That's
in
not-
advertising.
Well,
I won't do it.
you bet.
I won't.
Copy
Between
and
now and
paste
then,
from
you
a
should head over to
Yik Yak extensively.
Well, between now and then, you should head over to citationpod.com and just poke around a bit. Really, there's lots of great stuff there about our other shows. You can check it out. But I want to drive you to Citation Pod. And if you'd like to help keep the show going, which you really should, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review. Fucking just wherever, Home Depot, I don't care. Leave us a 5-star review there. If you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check show notes. Be sure to check out citationpod.com. And remember, whatever you're feeling right now, you fucking asked for it. This was you. Made me do that.
Now that we let Noah do the Etruscans, can I do my essay on Joseph Mengele?
Absolutely not.
Literally never. Seriously?
Not a chance.
Oh, man. He made a working hang glider out of bones.
No. Wait. He did?
No, but I thought I could trick you into it.
Okay.